Hey, it's Matty and welcome back to another garage conversion update. I've been making a little studio in my garage, somewhere for me to go and work and have my own personal little gaming space. So everything that's happened so far has seen me put a frame up inside the garage, even fit up a door and fill it with insulation. Now then, it's time to start on the plasterboard, cutting this into the correct sort of sizes that we need in order to go into each of the spaces. I had all of this plasterboard delivered. It was a lot easier to work with large sheets rather than use lots of smaller squares or rectangles of it to try and get it onto the wall. Again, I'm working with my dad here. I could have built a frame in front of the brick pillar that you can see there, but in the end we opted just to screw the plasterboard to it. I used a little bit of damp course membrane here just to make sure that nothing could seep through from the brickwork. I'm not sure if this is the correct thing to do, but it seemed to make sense at the time. Please let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. Now once again, this garage has been built slightly skew with, so this pillar wasn't exactly straight, which was a little bit of a pain, so we had to add in a couple of extra battens to ensure that this bit of plasterboard was straight and wasn't going to make the whole thing look really wonky. Before we put it onto the wall, we had to make sure that we knew where the different sockets were going to be, so we were able to cut those out once it was in position. And of course, even with years and years of experience like my dad, someone's going to end up kneeling on the plasterboard, making a big hole. In this section here, we've been able to get two of the walls up. This was relatively easy, although this part of the frame did need to be unscrewed a little bit to make sure that everything was straight. Again, we're working with a brick wall that wasn't built very straight in the first place. Inevitably, that's what some houses end up like. Either that or it's shifted over time, I don't know, but it's all up on the wall now, it's all straight, and it's all screwed in, and it's not moving, which is really, really important. So we got to a really good position here where we got two of the walls up and screwed into position. I had to have a good think about how I was going to fix this problem around the door because it wasn't a frame. So I built my own little box that I can screw the plasterboard into and make sure that everything looks nice and flush. I'd already boarded up the garage before all of this and couldn't really be bothered to go unscrewing everything again. So using some nails and pins, we were able to nail all of this rock wool into place and make sure that no heat was going to be lost going out through the ceiling. This rock wool was the leftover rock wool that I'd used in the flooring as well, and is really, really cheap. A lot cheaper than the foam insulation you can see with the silver backing on the different walls. As we go, we're making sure that there are some holes in there, just so we know exactly where the downlighters are going to come down. This was mostly measured out to give some good lighting throughout the studio space, and of course needed a little bit of extra wiring to ensure that it was all going to work. So all that was left to do was to test the plugs with this handy little gadget and then nip along to everybody's favourite wholesaler to go and get some downlighters to go in, and voila, we have some light, we have some power, and it's starting to really look like a room. At this point I was really starting to get excited. This was definitely the midpoint of the build, even though it took a really long time to get to this position here, but it was great to see everything finally come to shape. All that was left to do was to have a nice refreshing drink, and I'll see you in the next video.